of us focus and are on a specific area of psychology. For example, I come from neuroscience as my specialization. Later on, I focused on Islamic studies. Sister Bella Khan works as a counselor. Sister Sana Majid is very experienced in statistical methods. And Sister Asma Khan works on psychoanalysis of the Jungian aspect. So you can see that really different aspects of psychology are quite well represented in our department. As for me, you will interact with me quite a bit during your studies because I teach some courses. I teach Psychology 101 and Psychology 702, which is the history of psychology. And also I teach the thesis course. So in that, I will read your thesis, your proposals, and I will be the person that will interact with you the most. So as for me, I have a bachelor in psychology, a master of science in cognitive neuropsychology, and then I went on to a PhD in systemic neuroscience. On the Islamic part, I have a diploma from IAU in Islamic studies, one from Cambridge Islamic College, and I'm currently enrolled in the program of Islamic psychology and psychotherapy at the Cambridge Muslim College. So actually, when we want to start to talk about a faculty, a department of psychology, one thing that I would like to set is the common ground between us. So in general, the more students I talk to and the more students I get to meet, I realize that we all want to solve people's problems. We are all here because we desire to help, and we are all here because we want to make things better in somebody's life. Sometimes it is just in our family that we would like to offer some guidance. Sometimes it's in our own lives we feel confused. But anyway, the all reasons we start doing psychology is to help, because it's not a place where you go to make money, right? So that really helps having a common environment in a department. So since we are here to help, we have on our side, on the side of the psychology, very high expectation from you. In our department, we have a good team which has a good relation with one another, and we expect students to maintain the highest standards of behavior. This means politeness, and I can guarantee you that, inshallah, you will always be treated very politely by your professors and your lecturers. And so we expect the same to them. And we also expect the same when you are discussing in the student forums and outside of IOU as well. We would not want a psychology student from IOU going around and being judgmental on people and argue a lot. These are not characteristics that we like to foster. But coming to the specific parts of your study. So if you need anything from us, how can you contact us? So each course has a teaching faculty person assigned. If you go in the page of the course, you will see on the top right the name of the lecturers. So these are lecturers. They are people with qualifications in psychology. Sometimes I have seen that students think that the people that respond to the email or to the forums are just teaching assistants. No, these are the actual faculty. So we put really people who are experts on the topic to answer your questions. So please try to formulate your questions well. So sometimes I see very strange questions on the forums. Like, I can't see the slide and you don't say which module, you don't say which course, you don't. So start politely, elaborate on the question and so on. Also try to stay on topic, because the Ask the Teacher forum is to ask something about the program. The student discussion forum is instead a place where you can chat about whatever your curiosity is. And we see them too. Very rarely we intervene, but we monitor those. So to understand the different types of forums there are. And of course, if you have any technical problem, like you cannot download the slides, the file doesn't work, you cannot find some place, Then there is the technical assistance forum. That's for you. The person that is assigned to teach that particular course has some official IOU channels to be contacted. So they have an IOU email address, which you can see on the page, and the forums. These are the main way to contact the faculties. Sometimes they are kind enough as to offer their WhatsApp number, but it is not allowed to WhatsApp calling your teachers just out of the blue. This is not polite. You should introduce yourself, say who you are, and then ask for time for a call if the professor is available for that. Otherwise, there are calls on Skype on specific office hours. So for general questions about IOU, like you want to enroll in a different course, you want to change your plan of study, there is the help desk that is available. But let's say everything is fine, you do not have any specific questions, you just want to do your courses and you want to do them well, but you have a problem of time. It looks like there is just too much stuff to study. Actually, there is 30 modules per course and you might have enrolled in many courses. How to do that? That seems overwhelming. Actually, the average study load is 2 classes per week. So 2 videos, 2 items of the modules, unit 1 and unit 2 per week per course. If you do that, you finish on time. So the way you study each class, so let's say you are in the course and you want to study the introduction module. You listen to the video. I advise to first start listening to the video, but you can choose your own order. Then you take notes. Of course, while the video is going on, you can pause it, take notes, and then compare it to the notes that the professor has uploaded. And then you also compare that to the reading material, to that specific unit. You spend a bit of time to memorize this, to put everything together, try to repeat it in your mind, and then take the module MCQ. If you do this for each module, then you arrive at midterm that you have basically already consolidated everything that was done. At midterm, we will have, of course, the midterm live session where we will rehearse all the material. Writing your assignment at this point will be easy because you have already the material inside you. You do not need to go run around looking for files. So this, inshallah, could be helpful for you. For the very first semester, the biggest challenge, I believe, is time management for those of you who are young. While for those of you who have taken a break in your studies and then are studying again, is perhaps the memorization. So then you should take a bit more time at the end of each module to train back your memorization ability. And inshallah, they will return, so do not worry. In the first semester, you should also evaluate whether you are taking on too many or too few courses. There can be too few courses. That means, for example, if you take only 1 course per semester, you will never end and you will not really consolidate well your learning. By the end, you will have forgotten everything. Try to get in touch with other students on the student discussion forum and understand how are they managing, how are they doing. And please, one thing which is really important is to attend the midterm and the final term live sessions. For my courses, I try to put them in timings that are lunchtime in Europe, evening in like Pakistan, and early morning in America. So I try to put them in timings that everybody sort of can manage. And even if it is that one time that you sleep later or you wake up early, please try to make time for that, because in the live session, you will have somebody telling you the most important topics until that point, and you will have somebody answering your questions. So if you're confused and you feel like you need to directly speak to the teacher, that is the moment. So let's talk about assignments. because many people get assignments wrong. Assignments are uploaded very early. They're already there. If you have seen in most of the courses, not all the courses of psychology, actually, they're already there. Even though the deadline is December, if you think, oh, I will do it in December, this assignment will not pass. It will not happen. An assignment needs to be written early, when you have the time to slowly elaborate it and go on with the production and get new ideas. An assignment is something that requires you to produce your position on something. And this means that you cannot do it last minute, because if you do not have time to think, it will not come out well. So I strongly advise you to start now writing your assignment. It's the 1st of October. The earlier you submit it, actually, the better we can evaluate it and correct it. Because if we get, let's say we have a course with 300 students, we get all the assignments on the 10th of December, then we have 2-3 weeks to correct them. How much attention can we give really to each assignment? We have to really do one in 20 minutes, the other in 20 minutes, and so on and so forth. And that is very hard. Well, if you submit early, we can take our time to understand really better and to give you perhaps a better feedback. And these are human limits, you know, that we have not only at IOU, but everywhere else in the world. We will give you feedback for the assignment, which is an audio. It's in audio format. And after that, it is not allowed to ask for further feedback. And this is because of the numbers we have. So there are courses, I have courses with 300 students, but there are more. So that would really not be possible. But we try to really, in the audio feedback, try to tell you as much useful information as possible. So how do you write your assignment? Where do you start from? I have tried to bring out a 3-step program, let's say, to write the assignment. Each is first organize, second read, and the third write. So how are you gonna do that? First, organize. So you start writing the assignment. First thing you should do is just briefly recap the modules that you have studied until then to understand what are we talking about in this course, especially if you're taking many courses. What is the main idea? What is the topic? What are the hot topics in this discipline? Then you read all the reading material for that course. You read, of course, very carefully the assignment and you choose one of the topics. And you do not start directly opening a Word file and writing the assignment like my position is. No, it's better to start writing a list of topics that are relating to the assignment question. Like the assignment question tells you, do you think that eating disorders could be treated with a specific form of therapy? This is a question for some of you who are further on in the program. And you might think yes, you might think no. But then you start remembering, oh, I read an article that said that eating disorders improve if something happens. Or another, they say, oh, there are cultures where eating disorder are less or more because. And you start connecting like all the dots, all these different things, and you organize the knowledge that you have. Then you read. It means that you read articles related to the topic, please academic articles only. I do not want to read from the Times or from magazines or even from Islamic websites. This is a university, so we can only quote things that come from academia, academic books, academic journals, articles. The best source to do so is through the IOU library. So where you can look up JSTOR, for example, then you write in the bar the keywords and you find many articles on the topic. And these are all quotable, what you find there. Same thing, if you look in Google Scholar, almost everything you find there, it is something that you can quote in your assignment because it's all academic material. Google Books, not as good because it puts there all the books that are on the planet. So if you have the ability of understanding what is high scientific level and what is low scientific level, then yes, of course, use Google Books. Otherwise, if you're still confused in the difference between academic and non-academic material, please don't. It's only gonna confuse you more. What is completely unacceptable, like your assignment will be rejected, is if you quote from popular websites, okay? So BuzzFeed or whatever of that kind. I mean, they're not even valuable to go there in your free time. So why to put them on your assignment? And I have seen that. Then after you've read a lot, you should figure out a connection between what you're reading and the question of the assignment, the contents of the course, and ideally Islamic knowledge, because we're not any university, we're an Islamic university. So of course, if there is a key that is Islamic to answer the question, we do appreciate it a lot. If there is a verse of the Quran that in your feeling, can relate to that, then try to find a tafsir that explains it. Try to also really find connections with the hadith or with Islamic knowledge books that you have read. Do not use reference from banned websites, and you have a list here. You will be given the slides. And again, only academic sources. Third step, you have to write. So it's about 1,200 words. And the best idea is to start writing down section names. So these are basically the main ideas of each paragraph. And then you start developing it. This is because the best assignments are the well-structured ones. For example, if I ask you to take position on a topic, I like the assignments that say, I have this position because first argument, and it's well developed, second argument, well developed, third argument, well developed, and then at the end, therefore, that is why it's my position. What I don't like very much is when an assignment starts and takes a bit from personal experience and then moves on and then cites a paper, but you do not understand anymore what's the relationship with what came before. So really, your mind should be very organized. If you feel confused, that is still not the time to write the assignment. Now you realize why I'm asking you to start working on the assignment early. Is because if you do not arrive with this order in your mind, and this might take sometimes, to some of you, 2 days, to some of you, 2 months, Allahu A'lam. So that is really why you should take a lot of care about this. Then the referencing. You again should reference everything you're saying. You cannot just say, it is proven that eating disorders are more prevalent in the West. And you just end it like that. Proven how? Who said it? When? You should always reference when you say that through APA format. So, for example, if I want to say that important contributions to the field of Islamic psychology have been made from authors such as Al-Ghazali and Ibn al-Qayyim, if I just state it like that, it's wrong. But if I say that this important contribution have been made by Al-Ghazali and it was said by Al-Karam in 2018, and this is an academic source, and Ibn al-Qayyim, and this was said by Rasul in 2021, then that is acceptable. And of course, this should be put at the end in the bibliography in a longer form, following the APA standard. Google APA format, and you will find everything that you need for that. In the bibliography, you should put at least 6 sources. So you should have read quite a bit to have 6 good things. You don't think I just need to read 6 articles and just put them there in the bibliography. That will not be enough, because we know when articles are relevant to the text or they're not. So you should have read quite a bit. And this should be literature which is relevant to what you're saying in breadth and in depth. What does that mean? In breadth, meaning that, for example, if you want to talk about a specific, the prevalence of depression in a specific Muslim community, but you cite something that talks about the prevalence of depression in the world, that is too wide. So the breadth is not correct. In depth, it is the same. So let's say you're studying depression in Muslims, but you find a paper which talks about depressive episodes, people with mania, for example, in that community with zinc. That case, this article, it is too deep. It only takes a very small subsection of what you're saying, while you wanted to talk about the generic content. So this is very important. And then finally, something about when you have read a lot of papers, which ones do you select for the assignment? Well, in general, you do not need to, let's say, show off. So detail is useful only when needed. You do not need to put a lot of numbers. You do not need to put a lot of small specifications. Just the flow has to be rigorous. And the detail, again, when needed. You ideally should find a combination of theory and application. So you should give a general idea, which is theoretical, and application. How does this translate to the specific problem? The main findings of the material must be actually directly related to the question, not tangentially. So you cannot wanting to talk about children and their problems and you put a paper which talks about adolescents. That's a different topic. And ideally, because there isn't material for everything here, this contains both psychological and Islamic issue. What really we want to foster here at the IOU is the connection between psychology and Islam through the rich tradition of Islamic psychology and through the effort of contemporary Muslim psychologists. So this was the generic presentation that I wanted to give you, but I want to leave time for questions. So if I can be given instruction whether it's the correct time to open the Q&A.
Yes, sister, we can go ahead with this now. Students are requested to please only raise your hands and you will be given the opportunity to ask the question. Also, you can pose your question on the chat as well. All right, can Sister Afra Nasimul Ghani Khatib please ask a question?
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sister, you are. Please go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I wanted to ask the paper pattern for midterm and the semester end examination. And for the midterm, since we are giving it from our house, is it going to be MCQs or is it going to be subjective? Thank you.
So the midterm, so it depends on the course. Each course has its own requirement, and you can ask the teacher forum for specific. In general, you have at midterm MCQ, final MCQ, and at midterm you also have the assignment. In general, for example, the thesis courses is a different thing, and so on. We're soon including practical courses, which will be also different.
Okay, Sister Rohi, could you please unmute yourself and ask a question?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Can we get the record of this session?
Yes, sister.
Yeah, okay, you know better.
Sorry. Yes, sorry to interrupt. The recording of the session will be shared with all students, those who have attended or those who have not attended, inshallah. Sister Isa, or sorry, Brother Isa Kabir, could you please ask the question?
That's all right. My quick question, my question is that I need to know about there was a business thing for this orientation this morning. Do we have to go to all of the orientation things today? because I am at work and you can probably hear a little bit of noise here, but I just said I'll step out because I want to make sure that I cover the basis for everything. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Inshallah.
Brother Unib, so they're
Yes,
all recorded, right?
Yes, I actually didn't get the question completely. What I have got is that the brother is asking that all the orientations are going to be held today. But if you are enrolled in psychology, this is the psychology department's orientation. Before this, we had the orientation for the business department. We'll be having it after this one today. So if that is the question, and yes, the recordings will be shared with only students who have for the relevant departments.
Okay, good.
Yes,
Please
yes,
add
brother
if you
Isa
want.
Kabir. Go ahead, please, brother.
So I'm doing like the doctorate for Islamic studies. I thought we just had to do all the orientations. It wasn't clear. So I don't have to be at this one.
No, brother,
no.
you
If
don't.
you're not doing
No.
psychology, no.
And let me
Oh,
also add on that your orientation for Islamic studies would be going ahead tomorrow at 1:30 UTC time. That is going to be
Okay.
13:30 UTC. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
thought I had to go
No
to every
problem.
single one.
No, don't worry. Brother Unib, please do check if it is clear the fact, or if all the orientation links are posted, just to avoid
Yes,
people
yes.
having confusion. Thank you so much. I will just read a question from the chat. Is by Tamim Mahdi, who is asking, is it very hard to complete the degree? I feel you very much. I am also somebody who usually is a bit afraid of not being able to end things or to feel them very well, but please do not worry. So the key qualification that you must have here is organize your time. Then everything else we can manage, inshallah. So the teachers are very open also to multiple questions. If you find the material difficult, we will help you. So please do not worry about it being hard. Also in the thesis, you will be assigned to a supervisor, and the job of the supervisor is to guide you step by step in the actual writing of the thesis. So it is not something hard, like few people can do it. It is something that requires commitment, like many other things in life. So please do not worry. Another question here from Shafi. If nobody raises the hand, I am just reading from the chat. But if somebody raises the hand, they get priority. That's usually how things work. But meanwhile, I'm reading from the chat. Is the Quran also included in the bibliography? Yes, you of course can cite the Quran. If you use translation, and you have to use translation, of course, please do cite the translation you're using. So do not just put a random, I found online translation, and then in the bibliography write the Quran. So also that should be which editor, which year, and so on and so forth. Okay. Fatay, please.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Please, I wanted to ask, is the IOU courses like recognized worldwide? Like after our degree, can we be able to serve in our country like National Youth Service? That is what I wanted to ask.
Okay, that depends on the country. So actually, this thing of being recognized, so the IUU is recognized as a university worldwide. That does not mean that all courses are accredited. That is different. At psychology, we are currently accredited in Malawi and in the Gambia. Some people have managed also to get it recognized at the open universities or at other online universities. Some countries do accept it, some don't. Our job will be in the next few months/year to get it recognized in more countries. but this is an ongoing work because you basically have to do it one by one. So, and still, once it is recognized, you will have to, bring to the specific institution or to the specific job you're going the proof of the exams. But in general, if you're interested in the job market, that is much easier to have it recognized because you just show the exams and they say, okay, you have the skill. In the academic world, so if you want to go on with a master or PhD, that is what we're working on. I hope that answered the questions.
Okay. And again, what I wanted to ask is, in terms of how will I put it?
Yeah.
Like I actually enrolled on this BSc course for 4 years, and I paid for full time. So I'm finding it difficult to cope with the courses because I just finished Islamic psychology yesterday, and I'm thinking of how to cover other courses like etiquette of seeking knowledge and other child psychology and all that before the end of the year, because I think the exams will be December, and I don't know how to cope with that because every day I'm going to work and I'm trying to cover my courses. In the nights I had to go through 2 modules or so it's very, very difficult, and I don't know, like I also want to know, like I enrolled on 4 courses though, like etiquette of seeking knowledge, Islamic psychology. So I'm thinking if the Islamic psychology and the etiquette of seeking knowledge are those 2 I enrolled on, and the exam was to come out December, for example, then what about others I didn't enroll on, other courses I didn't enroll? Would there be any problem with it?
I mean, for such questions, you should contact help desk because that is the correct channel for questions about enrolling, re-enrolling, and enrolling from courses. In general, if you're starting fresh, again, if you do 2 modules a week of each course, you end up well. Just a second, because I've been asked to show again a list of citation sites that are not okay. So here it is. You can have a look at it. If you want, you can take a screenshot, but again, this will be put later on in the online. So the recording will be there. So for the font size of the assignment, this should be 12. Please, Zaid, Mohammed, you can ask your question in the meanwhile. Okay, then Naulia Siregar. Sorry if I'm butchering your names really, but. Naulia, you should unmute yourself and talk.
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Professor, I would like to ask, if we use the modules given as one of the resources of our paper, how many % is the tolerancy?
Sorry, can you repeat the question? It is on plagiarism you're asking?
No, yeah. I mean, it's related with plagiarism. If we use the modules given in each courses by the teacher as one of our resources, how many % is the tolerancy?
Okay, I understand. Well, that is, I would say maximum 10% of the total text should be quoted. Quoting is when you put the commas, the citation marks around it. You can, of course, reformulate, so saying differently what is being said in the module in your assignment. However, if you do not put external material or academic references and your own thought, the marking will not be very high. That is what happens. Hope I answered the question. Kirana, please.
Assalamualaikum, Professor. I'm Kirana. I'm from Indonesia. I want to ask about the resource of the module because it's not sometimes the materials is not all from one book. Only some chapters. So how can we get all the matters of the book? Thank you, Professor.
Okay, so sometimes in your courses, there is only one chapter of a book, and this is because of copyright laws. So we cannot put the whole book, otherwise we can be sued. But we put you only the material that is necessary for you. So just read that. And for your studies, that's it. If you're more interested in the topic, you can, of course, buy the book, but it is not allowed by law for us to put the whole book. Sometimes we put the whole book because the author was kind enough to tell us we can, but in general, we cannot. Sister Bushra, please.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum.
I wanted to ask you about the final exams and also the midterms. So I was looking at the study plan, and it says that we have to go to certain exam centers. And I really wanted to know how we can find the exam centers. Do we have to go in for the midterms, or do we only have to go in for the final exams?
Oh, Brother Unib, here you know better, right? Or nobody knows here?
Sorry, sister. Unfortunately, I skipped this question. Could you please go ahead once again, please?
This was about the exam centers, whether they need them for
Yes.
both midterms and final terms, and how to find them.
Okay, a word about this exam center and enrolling into the exam center would be announced very, very shortly in the next 2 weeks. Well, my understanding at the moment is, but don't take this as a final word, that most probably the exam would be online once again. But a final verdict will come up in the next 2 weeks, inshallah, and will be shared with all of you. Sister
Yes.
Sabina, please.
Assalamualaikum, Professor. I want to ask regarding about the assignment submission. How if we unintentionally submitted the wrong file, can we resubmit our assignments, or there's no second attempt at all? Shukran.
I mean, there is officially no second attempt at all. There are extremely exceptional cases in which there has been, like it was the last exam. In that case, we might think of it. But if you're at your first exams and you mess it up, you have to repeat it. And I'm sorry, I know that this is unreasonable because sometimes people just mess up things, but we have such a number of students that if we say, okay, if you make a mistake, we re-allow, then they say, no, but the good version was the first, you gave me the wrong mark, please evaluate another file. And I mean, it's impossible. So unless it is an extremely exceptional situation, then we do not allow second attempt. So please make a folder where you put only final file, big and huge, and just upload it from that folder. Find a way that works for you, not to mess it up, because there is no second attempt. So if there are no more raised hands, I will read a couple more questions from the chat, and then I think we can close it, Brother Nib. It should have lasted an hour, correct?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
We have got like 10 minutes more. That's it.
Okay, I will just get a couple more questions, just not to leave people hanging from the chat, and then we close it. So there is here Gina who's asking, does IOU have a special e-library for lessons on updated Islamic psychology or journals that can be accessed easily? Yes, we have an e-library. And the e-library has some books. Now we have a new librarian who is working really hard to include all the textbooks. I know this is just from a few days, weeks ago. And on the other hand, the academic journals, of course, you can reach them through the IOU. That's what the e-library is about. So if you investigate a little bit inside your campus account, then I think you can find. Brother Unib, do you think there are tutorials about this for students, like how to find academic journals related to the
Yes, they are tutorials, and for this, I would recommend to go with the how-to videos as well as the FAQs, the frequently asked questions. There are more than hundreds and hundreds of questions answered in that area, and obviously the links to the libraries would be shared over there as well, inshallah.
Because I'm showing like really fast. This is your homepage, basically. And if you go just a little bit lower, you have IOU Library, IOU eLibraries Gateway. And then here you see you have this JS store I talked to you about. You access it now. There is a disclaimer. And then you just go on the JS store. That is it's like a Google, basically. So you go Islamic psychology, and everything has access provided by Islamic Online University. And here you have a lot of academic material that you can use in your assignment. So you see, it's very easy and all provided by IOU. So, sorry if I took the time, but just to show the thing, it takes nothing. Okay, last question from Mahrouba. Oh.
Sister Mahrouba, you there?
Okay, then Sister Rose. Rosa Muhammad. Somebody in the chat asked, do we have to pay for this e-library? No, it is included in your IUU student fees. Okay. I think that's it. Brother Unib, what do you say?
Yes, sister, that's fine, inshallah. On this note, we can end today's session, inshallah. Jazakallahu khair to all the students, and specifically Jazakallahu khair, respected sister, Professor Dr. Francesca. May Allah give us the strength and steadfastness in deen. May Allah bless all of us with the knowledge, and may He benefit us, our families, and our communities with what He has taught. Jazakumullahu khairan. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.